Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wu Manchu Chronicles. I'm your host, Wu Manchu, and every episode I bring in a musician that's going to be performing on Strathfest this year, happening at the Tirnanog Irish Pub in Daytona Beach. And also, it's going to be October 2nd to the 5th, and at Punk Rock Pizza as well. So check out acutiepie.com for all the details. Shout out to Blowback Gallery for having us in Colorado this year, K-Nails and Spa, Quan's Kitchen, and the new Star Bar for taking care of us while we were out there. So without further ado, welcome my guest, Mr. Mike Martinez. How are you, pal?
Hello, doing well. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome, dude. Yep, I shout out to 13X Studios for this mask too. So he's based out of St. Augustine. Good fella. Yeah.
Very nice.
Indeed. Yeah, man, it's pretty awesome to get to talk to you. I saw you messaged me. You said you saw me driving
Yeah,
by on Main Street yesterday.
I was on Tuesday. I was pulling up to the open mic, and just as I was going to park, I saw you coming around the corner, and then I put two and two together because I was at the open mic a few weeks ago, and you must have had another comedy show going on like a few weeks back, or maybe even a month ago. And then I was like, oh, so he does those over there. So yeah, it was like a light bulb moment for me.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It just fell into my lap, and like Grady's like the dopest owner of like a venue, and like one of them in town, and just like Tom, across the street, and Randy at the
Absolutely.
Nog, all good folks, and like I just interviewed him one day because I love pizza because like I look like a Ninja Turtle, so I go there and I'm like, I want to interview you, like punk rock pizza, like, and then he showed me what the venue looked like, and I'm like, yeah, we're hoping to have comedy here, and he goes, like, I'm a comedian too, and like, and it just fell into my lap, and I'm like, all right, cool, so yeah,
Yeah,
that's how it
it's
all
awesome.
started, all natural.
Yep.
Awesome, dude. So, man, I'm so excited. I whenever I go to the Naga, whenever I try to make it out there, see you all randomly unusual suspects, and I'm like, man, you guys are so awesome on stage, and get to meet you, and Jesus and I go way back, and it's just so cool how everything's coming back full circle. So,
It's funny that you mentioned that. Uh, I knew of you since probably, you know, basically when me and Jay started working together in 2019. In 2016, I was told about him by Trey Gettings, who you probably know.
yeah, from the Green Tree Brothers.
Yes, he told me I was working with him. He came over to my house to lay some guitar tracks on a beat, and he was like, "Man, you got to work with Jesus. You got to work with Jesus." I'm like, "I don't know who that is." So he like pulled up a track and played it, like a track that he had done with him. I'm from Connecticut, like we're cocky up there with our hip hop, and like I was like, he's all right, whatever. Didn't really do anything for me. Fast forward 2019, I get a random message on Instagram. It's Jesus. He thought I was somebody else. We didn't know until later, but he hit me up like, hey, let's do some music. So we started sending tracks back and forth or whatever. And the tracks are coming out dope. And I was like, well, let me look more into this guy. And here comes my point. I found that interview that you did with him outside of Tortugas, or it might have been Fuego del Mar back then, on the side of the building there. And like, I was like trying to like figure out who this guy was, like get a little more information about him. And your interview came up. So like I knew of your name since back then, like, so going back 5 years now, when you did that interview with Jay.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, like there's some like I just left all my interviews of like years past there, and it's like, Peppers is still up there, and just like I don't know, there's so many classic Flagler musicians, and I'm just blessed to try to put them on the map too, and put you on the map too, and
Yeah, Flagler definitely is like a little hot spot for musicians for sure. I when I met Trey, it was like in this little period of time that I it's funny now because we get along great and we love each other. But I got in a fight with my wife one night, and I was like, "I'm going out," and I ended up at I guess it was Fuego then, and I met Travis Barrett Rudd, Pepper Pyle, Barry Mathewson, Bo and Wyatt, all in the same night, and like from there on I was just clicked up with all the Flagler musicians, been friends with them since, and that's how I like kind of got started back doing music down here because I moved from Connecticut in 2011.
awesome. So Since you're from Connecticut and you were in the hip hop scene, you might know my friend that's up there too. His name is Big Stat.
No, I heard you mention him. I think on the pod yesterday with Sav. Not unless he went by a different name or something before. I was doing music uh, in Connecticut from like '02 to 2011. And
Uh,
then once I moved down here, I had some life stuff going on. I was inactive more or less. I was still recording, but like I wasn't really doing shows or anything like that until about 2016 is when I started like coming back out again.
uh,
But yeah, and I'm not familiar with that artist. What part of Connecticut is he from?
I'm not sure, but his real name's like Gary Monteleone, and he had like Redman on his mixtape called "Don't Quit Your Day Job," and I met him when he was out in L.A. with like Ghostface, Method Man, Redman at the House of Blues on the Sunset Strip. So if I sent you a
Gotcha.
picture, you might recognize him or something.
Yeah, maybe it's not ringing any bells though.
Oh, for sure. Good cat. Yeah, without him, like I wouldn't have met Method Man's manager at the Key Club because I told him about Big Stat, and he's like, yeah, he's a good friend of mine, and since you know him, he must be a good guy, and so let me get you backstage if you want to meet him. I'm like, sure, I'll meet him. So he autographed my journal and everything, and took a photo with me, and yeah, it was crazy how all those things connect. But yes, I'll send you some of his music. It's
Cool.
pretty
Yeah, I'll check it out.
yeah,
We probably definitely know some of the same people for sure, if
most
not each
definitely.
other.
Yeah, since yeah, but just getting all those interviews, and maybe I should interview him and catch up with the guy and thank him and all that good stuff. So yeah, so Mike, peace to you too, my friend, and that's what you greeted me as on your website. So I wanted to give you peace to you, and but yeah, what made you pick like boom bap as your genre of like hip, like your sub genre of hip hop than the other stuff?
I didn't really pick it. It's just like what I naturally do. I'm an older guy. I'm just turned 40. That's what I came up on. I remember roller skating to rob bass and stuff like that when I was a kid. And, obviously in the 90s, I got into boot camp, Wu Tang, like Rakim and all sorts of stuff. And it's just the sound that I gravitated towards. Like I consider myself traditional with hip hop, like the Four Elements. I still rep those to death. I started out as a graph writer before I ever picked up the mic. Um, it's just it's what draws me. I'm not opposed to other styles and like trap and stuff like that. It just doesn't speak to me the way that you know boom bap or traditional, as I call it, hip hop does. You know what I mean? Like break beats and samples, and it doesn't even have to be samples. Like I can play a little bit of guitar, bass, keys on a beat and make it sound like hip hop. But it's just like the aesthetic of it, the griminess, um and it doesn't have to always be like hard. Like I do a lot of stuff that's like sad, like introspective, like pretty sounding stuff too, but it's always delivered in that like just that true essence. Like it's the true form of hip hop in my opinion, you know what I mean? Like from where it started out, and it kind of deviated in the mainstream anyways in like the late 90s, early 2000s, where it got kind of lost in the sauce. Like there was a lot of weird instrumentation going on in beats. It kind of sounded watered down for a while there. And then in like 2010, I largely credit Rock Marciano with bringing back the style that I do now. Because I never left it. You know what I mean? It's always been what I do, even before I made beats. Like these are the type of beats I'd be rapping on. Um, when I started selling beats in 2014, this like new boom bap renaissance that's going on right now did not exist yet. And it was difficult because everybody wanted trap beats, to the point that I partnered with this Serbian producer who made trap beats. And I was like, I'll sell your beats if you give me a cut. Cause I had the selling part down. Like I was like a good salesperson, but the demand for the type of beats that I made was not there at the time. Now it is. Boom bap is back in a big way. Drumless beats are hot as hell right now, and I love that stuff. So, But yeah, it's not so much that I picked it. It's just it's like naturally what I do. So
Oh yeah, it's a nice calling, and I love how like you mentioned like boot camp like in Wu Tang. Cause like when I was living in LA, I got to go see him in Pasadena. It was Sean Price and Capadon on the same bill together. It was just
nice.
magical for sure.
Sean Price is my favorite all time MC.
Oh, nice.
Ever since Operation Lockdown, I've been a Sean Price fan.
Big time. R.I.P. to Sean Price.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. And here's some messages from your boys from Unusual Suspects. We got some peace signs from Sav here. Peace to you, my
Where
man.
do I see these somewhere?
Yeah, it should be on comments. And
Let me see
then
here.
Jesus, I'm sure that's like,
Oh, I see it now.
and then it was a
Uh,
tongue twister. Yep. Jay's going off. It's pretty fun. So yeah, you can read all those if you like.
my dog.
Yeah.
Yes, he quoted one of my my mantras that I often refer to. Sean Price. I forget the name of the song, but it's like an old freestyle that he put out, and he says, "You think too much. Your whole flow stinks. You suck." And whenever I get writer's block, I always channel that Sean Price quote. It's words to live by.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, and Sav and I talked about Dope DOD, and they did a song with Sean Price back in the day, and I showed him the interview that I did with Dope DOD, and like DJ Paul crashed it, and then Violent J crashed it. It was like it was in Jacksonville. It was crazy as all get out, but it was a wild time. But I'll send it to you if you want. It's supposed to be like 10 minutes. It was like 17 at the end of the day. It was so wild.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man, awesome. Good stuff. And shout out to the fellas that are in the chat. Thank you for supporting the channel and all that good stuff and our interview and with Mike. Yep, and yeah, he called you the RZA of the group, and Sav is the Method Man of the group, and Jesus is the ODB of the group.
Yeah, I mean, there could be parallels, but I hesitate to. I mean, obviously, connections and parallels are there, being in such a large group, but it's just like Sean Price, the ODB of the BCC. You know, people are always going to make connections like that, but I like to think what we're doing is unique. You know what I mean? Like, Sav is Sav. Like, he's his own entity. Jay obviously is a wild card, to say the least, but he is unique. Like, he's on his own vibe. You know what I mean? And as far as RZA, for me, I couldn't agree with that, because RZA had executive power. I don't have that in the crew. You know, we got a lot of chiefs in the suspects, a lot of strong minds, which is good, and I'm all for it. Usually, crews like this, as like I said, I've been doing hip hop music since '02. Recording, releasing, performing, and everything like that. And I've always had a crew, and it was usually a crew that I put together. Overly Dope was my original crew. Then I had a crew called DIY or Die for a while. But the Suspects existed already. And, Jay touched on it when you spoke to him a week or two ago, whatever it was. We went down there to check them out, and we were welcomed with open arms. And, that was new for me, because usually I'm the mastermind behind stuff like that, and this was like something that I just stepped into. Now, once I did step into it, I definitely made my presence known. I'm very organized. I'm very task oriented. I get things done. Anybody will tell you. And I brought that to the crew. I brought, I think, a sense of direction, where they were kind of like they were all getting together doing shows and everything like that. But I was the first one that got all, at the time, 10 MCs on a track together, all 10 on a project together that had never been done. Now we have 11, and we're working on a proper album. And if I had the executive decision like RZA, it would be done already, but I don't. I have to work with a lot of different ideas and people thinking this is right and that is right, which is fine. And we have other producers in the crew. Like this is the other thing about the Suspects. I don't know if you saw our logo, like the multicolored logo.
Yep, the
Like,
graffiti one.
yeah, all different like colors, but it makes one beautiful thing. That is like a microcosm of our crew. We're a lot of different flavors and different styles. We make this one amazing unit, but at the same time, it's like it takes all those differences to make it. So that's why I said, like, it's flattering to be compared to the Wu-Tang at all, but it's different because RZA was like, we're going to do this. This is what we're going to do. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And it absolutely paid off for them amazingly. But with us, it's more of like a democratic kind of thing where it's like we're all pitching in our 2 cents. We're all seeing what works, what doesn't, and going that way.
Awesome. Good stuff. I love the way you put it. It's well done, my man. And Jay's like, I like the logo translation respect. So
Jay's my dog. He made it safely back to Florida today, where he will
uh,
hopefully stay put until the end of October.
absolutely. Yeah, I saw like on his travels. I'm like, man, I'm so jealous. You get all those cool places, and
You get jealous. I get scared. I'm like, man, I hope he's all right. Makes it back okay.
indeed, for sure. Awesome. And so yeah, I saw him with like Tyler up in wherever he was. Just it's pretty good stuff.
Yeah, he was
Oh
up
yeah,
in
he was in
Chicago. Yeah,
Chicago. Yeah, it, it's fun doing stand up out there. I'm not gonna lie, and they got some good food out there too. So yeah,
never been.
awesome for sure. And so yeah, and so like what like I noticed that you said that you had like thousands of records behind you, and so like what are some of the your favorite musicians that you sample and stuff?
Oh, I don't want to really blow my spot like that. I could tell you some genres maybe like that I like. I have a lot of
Okay.
salsa. I have a lot of salsa records, obviously a bunch of jazz records. Um, I really like to sample stuff that's not, you know, usually sampled. Like when me and Jay got together, I was sampling a lot of Christian psychedelic music, which is like a crazy genre that like a lot of people don't even know exists. Um, and I think like the first 2 or 3 projects we did were like just Christian psych folk records that I sampled. And then I got into the opposite end of the spectrum and was doing like occult psych rock. And those made some uh, crazy tracks also. Obviously Prague and stuff like that. Um, Basically, I go for when I dig for samples because sometimes I'll go to the record store and I'll buy records to listen to for my own personal enjoyment. But 99% of the records that I have are for sampling. Um, I usually go from like 68 to about 78. I don't like to get too close to the 80s because it starts getting real disco-y. And that's not a hard and fast rule because there's like amazing records that have been made in the 80s and the 90s and going forward. I try not to get too current with the samples though. Just it's like a weird rule I have. Like I feel like part of the cool thing about sampling is like breathing new life into something that's maybe been forgotten. Um, I love foreign records. Uh, like I'll 99% of the time, if it's in like Spanish or an Asian language and it's from the 70s, I'm going to buy it. And usually to good results. Like if my buddy Will Tobin is another producer from Brooklyn. He always says, if you see an Asian guy with a guitar on a record, you buy it. Like, you don't leave that in the store. Like you buy that. And that's a rule that doesn't really steer me wrong. But yeah, I wouldn't want to give out like specific artists that I like to sample. Twofold. Number one, I don't clear my samples, so it's like catch me if you can. And number two, I don't want people drawing water from my well. You know what I mean? So, but those are some
Yeah.
genres I enjoy.
Awesome. Well put, dude. Well put. I dig it. Yeah, man. Like I'm Cambodian, so like my parents they played a bunch of Cambodian music growing up. Like being like born in the like raised in the '80s. Like I got exposed to, like a bunch of those '80s music, like top 40 mostly. But then I discovered like hip hop didn't enter my life until like Dr. Dre and like Dre Day, and then that was like my gateway drug out of Culture Club and all that.
Right on.
Yeah, and then Wu Tang came along, and the rest is history, I guess you can say.
Yeah, that's like
But yeah,
those are
dude.
your
And
dudes,
so
right?
but
Your
yeah, you
favorite.
oh big time. Like if it wasn't like my days in LA and being a concert journalist and not being able to meet them in like the weirdest way possible, like in a good weird kind of way, like just naturally happened. It was just like it gave me a whole brand new respect level for them. Just like these guys are pretty cool. They used to be so wild in the '90s, but they're much more chill nowadays. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it happens as we get older.
Yeah,
Well,
big
except
time.
for
That's for
Jay,
sure.
he's still wild.
Yeah, he's a wild one. Gotta love him though. Oh man, he brought when I saw him at Tortugas or Fuego, it's like everyone was all like serious with like the singer songwriter, and he would just jump in there and like spit his bars, and it was like, man,
Oh!
that's yeah,
Yeah,
his ad libs, all that stuff
absolutely.
made it so much more special. So
That's why
yeah,
me and him work really well together, I always say, because we balance each other out. Like, I'm very level headed now. I didn't used to be, but I am now. I'm like very chill, focused. I'm completely clean and sober of, minded mood altering drugs going on, a little over 4 years now. And I'm just usually very serious. Like you're talking about those singer songwriters, like that's probably me. You know what I mean? Like I'm like a serious dude. And Jay's just like very loose. Like even the way he lives his life is very loose. Like we're opposites in a lot of ways, but the love for the music is the same in both of us. And actually, our approach to it in a lot of ways is very similar. And we're both just happy to be participating in the culture of hip hop. Um, One of the best things for me musically has been linking up with Jay. It's opened up a whole different um, approach to music for me, and I think like I didn't realize what we had um, and appreciate it for what it was until we got with the Suspects and started playing like a lot of shows because we were playing shows prior to linking up with them. But once we linked up with the Suspects and we've been playing like at least like a couple shows a month, um, and seeing how people react to it, comment on it, receive it has like really opened my eyes to how special JM is as a group. And I'm just, thrilled to be a part of it for sure.
most definitely good stuff. And shout out to him. He's still going wild in the
Yeah,
COVID
he's a madman.
yeah, I love him. I put them all on there for the world to see, but it's just like it's just great to watch and read and stuff. And
He's like
you
a
gotta,
tidal wave of a human being.
yep, big time. It's perfect for
Forever.
Halloween. Yeah, good stuff. And so you lace fire drumless loops. So what's your method to your madness when you do that?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first part. I heard the method of my madness, but what was the first part?
Oh, how do you like lace your fire drumless loops? Like what?
Oh,
Like
I mean, any beat, not any beat, but a lot of the beats that I do that even have drums on them could be drumless. Like, I need to tell myself, like, I'm going to make a drumless beat and then I'll make a drumless beat. My ear might be tuned into different things. Like, you need the proper sample um, if you're going to have it carry the entire track. Obviously, the MC is the key piece that's going to fully form the song, but you can get it like 90% there with the right sample. I did a project with my buddy Young Link. He's an artist from Long Island. It was one of my first projects that I sold when I got the MPC one, because I was producing on FL Studio for like 12 years. Um, and I started getting some placements and and I was clean. So I had money and I wanted to look like a little more professional. So I bought, an MPC because I wanted an MPC forever. Like before I even made beats, I wanted an MPC. Like, so it's just like the culture. Um, so when I got it, I was learning it. Young Link was like buying some of the first beats I was making on it, which was really dope. And then he hired me to produce a whole drumless project for him. And we did 10 tracks. But then, like, as we were getting close to the end, I was like, We should probably throw drums on a couple of these, because it was just getting like kind of too much. Like 10 tracks deep of like no drums. I was like, all right, let's just throw like a little bit of drums on some of them. But that project's called Basquiat's and Backpacks. And if you look that up, the beats on there are amazing. And a funny like side story about that. So I was making all these beats for him, and he was recording the tracks and everything like that. I reach out to different artists on Instagram and stuff, like to try to send them beats or whatever. It's how I start a lot of relationships with different artists that I work with. And I was reaching out to Flea Lord. It was in like 2022. And he hit me back and he's like, yeah, send me some beats. Gave me his email. And like, I knew he was like on that drumless wave. And then I normally don't do this. I'm ratting myself out right now, but Young Link and everything, we're all cool. He knows about it. I knew Flea Lord was in like drumless beats, and I had all these like fire drumless beats I was making for Young Link. So I threw a couple of those in there, and Flea Lord picked one of them. He was like, I want this one. I was like, ah, shit. So I had to reach out to Link, and I was like, so bro, like Flea Lord he's like, dude, it's Flea Lord. He's like, of course. He's like, give it to him or whatever. He's like, it's cool. I was like, look, I'm gonna give you your money back for that beat. I'm gonna make you another beat to it, because he already recorded a song and everything. And it's funny because on the Basquiat's and Backpack project and on Flea Lord's album, Ladies and Gentlemen, there's 2 tracks that I produced named Broken Hearted, but they're totally different. But Young Link recorded to the beat that Flea Lord used on his album of mine. And I took the beat out and I made a new beat and slid it under his vocals. So I remade his track. And then Flea Lord just ended up naming his Broken Hearted also because of the sample that was in there. It was a soul sample. Triz is on there. I don't know if you're familiar with the West Coast artist Triz.
Not yet anyways, but I'll look them up. How do you spell it?
Trizz. He's done a lot of work with like Brother Lynch Hung. He used to go by like Baby Ripgut, like do like some horrorcore stuff, but now he's like on some like more smooth kind of gangsta shit, but he's really dope. And he was on that track too, Broken Hearted by Flea Lord on Ladies and Gentlemen. Came out in October of 2022.
Awesome. I'll definitely look up Triz for sure. So, yep. I love when like folks send me like new music to listen to, because I'm like, it tells me, a bunch of things. It's like, you got to vibe out to this,
Oh, yeah. And he killed his verse on that track. Like, absolutely destroyed it. He opens up the track, and then Flea Lord comes in after him, does the hook, and does another verse. But I personally never even heard Triz before that, and now I'm a fan. Because he said one line in his verse, he's like, my bitch in expensive garments while yours is stealing from Target. And I was just like, okay, I like this guy. He's pretty good.
So awesome.
He's clever.
Yeah. Awesome. And so you spoke of like the equipment that you use. Like what other take me on a journey of all the beat making stuff that you use, from the beat making machines to like the drum machines to the computer, the programs, all that stuff.
Let's get a little dangerous here, shall we?
Yes.
Let's see if I can move this. You're probably gonna lose a little bit of audio here.
Okie dokie. So we'll check out Mike's rig rundown, if you will.
I'm trying to talk loud. So I got a bass and a guitar there. And I'm trying to do this with a laptop, so I can't like really see too good either. There you go. Record player, KRK monitors, MPC-1 and an MPK Mini for keys, SP404, Mark II, MPC 2500. The laptop I use to record and mix songs I am on right now, so I can't show it to you. This little guy is fire. This is a pocket operator. Hold up, let me show you the sauce quick. All right, set that back down. Fire. The inside of this thing looks like a calculator. This case cost almost as much as the unit. A company called Beatmakers Boutique makes these. They make all different kinds. This is like the one that's modeled after an SP404. But totally sick, dude. You can make like just full on productions with this. I don't know if you're familiar with H. Pata. He does a lot of production on very tiny beat machines, and he kills it on a pocket operator. But yeah, those are just like what I'm using. I still could get busy on FL Studio from time to time if I feel like it. Like if I'm sitting in my armchair, like watching TV, but I want to make a beat, like I might just go on FL and like load something up off YouTube, chop it up. But generally, it's the MPCs. I can make beats on the SP404 as well, but I use that more as like an audio interface. I run all my records into the SP404, and I did a video on this. It's on my Instagram, but it's hard to find videos on my Instagram because I post beat videos every day. But yeah, I run the record, if I'm sampling off a record, into the SP404, and in there I can like add a little bit of effects to it or whatever, and then I run it out into either the 2500 or the MPC-1, and then I'll construct the beat in there, and then I completely mix the beat and everything inside the machine, and then I take the beat out and record over it on my laptop and just basically 2-track it. And it's very like low tech. Like I've been doing it for 22 years now. Pretty much the same method of recording. I haven't been making beats that long. I started making beats in about 2010 because I was used to be a heroin addict, and I lost all my like producers, like nobody and friends. Nobody really wanted to be around me. I was in a pretty bad way. And out of necessity, like I started making beats and everything. And then after that, I just fell in love with it. And now I kind of prefer it to rapping, honestly. Like rapping was always my first thing, and I'm fairly good at it. But production is really what's like captured my heart right now, and that's what I enjoy doing the most.
Indeed. It's like I feel like Tarzan when that happens. Like you fall in love with one thing, and there's a new vine that comes on, and then you hang on to that one.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, you love being like there's so many eras. I guess like Taylor Swift would call them, and it's like I think we've all lived like a couple like different eras in our lifetime, and to like vines, if you will, just find a new love out there. And from rapping to producing, it's like me from journalism to horror to stand up. It's just
Right. Well, I was
yeah.
talking about this with Matt from the open mic on Tuesday. We were talking about Rocky Erickson. Are you familiar with Rocky Erickson?
Not so much. I don't think so.
He was a singer, songwriter, band leader of a band called the 13th Floor Elevators, a psychedelic band from the 60s. It's like famous for like Janis Joplin kind of ripping off his vocal style. There's a great documentary called You're Gonna Miss Me. That's about Rocky Erickson's life and like his battle with mental illness and everything like that. But anyways, like he was in this awesome 60s psych band, which had a jug player in it, which is crazy. But he was awesome in it. Like he was very good. And then he kind of disappeared for a little bit, and he came back in this other band called the Aliens. It was Rocky Erickson and the Aliens, and they did this album called The Evil One that it's like a precursor to heavy metal. It's like early, like hard, heavy, and like it's all horror themed, like lyrics and stuff. Like I highly suggest, like if you take anything from me, like as a suggestion to go listen to Rocky Erickson and the Aliens, the Evil One album, and you will thank me because it's amazing. There was like a year that I drove around in Connecticut listening to nothing but that album. I'd have the windows down, and I'd just be like, "It's a cold night for alligators," like singing along to it. It was my jam while I'm making hip hop music, like, but that was my jam. This like early hardcore, like heavy metal kind of stuff but the point is, like, he completely reinvented himself. He was totally awesome at what he did, and then he switched it up, and he was totally awesome at that. Like, and I always admire artists like that. And I've had not to that degree, but I've had several like reinvention stages. I've gone by several aliases and have been involved in different musical situations, which I still am. I do side projects and stuff like that, but like before I was just known by my regular name, the reason that I go by Mike Martinez now is just because I changed my name so many times. Like I would completely like rebrand And it was the point I was like, no one's going to know who I am. Like, I need to stop doing this or I'm just going to keep changing it. So I was like, I'm just going to be Mike Martinez now. And so that's why I go by my own name now. But I'm still reinventing myself all the time, you know?
Big time. And it's always good to have like people like give you your aliases too and your nicknames. And like Wu Manchu wasn't my idea. It was just the special effects makeup artists that were at the studio that I was at in LA were like, "You've met all of the Wu Tang members pretty much. Like what?" And I didn't know what I was gonna be for Halloween. They're like, "Why don't you be Wu Man?" I'm like, "Sounds too much like woman. Like let's go Wu Manchu like the punk band Fu Manchu." So it's like,
Yeah.
and it stuck. So yeah.
That's a dope alias. Yeah, one of my rap names that I used to go by when I lived in Boston was Mike Twain. And that was given to me by a producer. He was like sending me beats one morning and like he sent me a beat and then I sent him a track back like real quick. And he's like, man, he's like, you write like Mark Twain. And I was like, Twain, Mike Twain. That's pretty dope. And like I went by that for a little while. My last name before I went to Mike Martinez was Mike Murderer, which came of its own accord. I was work. Are you familiar with the Nature Kids, the band, the Nature Kids out of New Smyrna?
I'm not.
They were like a rap, reggae, metal, punk band from the 90s, like in New Smyrna. And I was in rehab in 2011 when I first came to Florida with this dude, Manny. And, you know, I'm always like promoting myself. So I was like playing my CD in the rehab and like rapping and everything. And this guy was like, oh, you need to meet my buddy Troy. Like he's in this awesome band, the Nature Kids and blah, blah, blah. So when we got out, I did meet Troy and Troy is a G. Like they were contemporaries of like Limp Bizkit when Limp Bizkit was coming out. And they were too cool for school as far as signing like a deal. And they never did. He says, oh, we kept it real broke. Like he never signed or anything like that. But that's another one. And talking about reinvention, like he was in this like reggae rap band and he was the front man. And you can find some of their old performances on YouTube. Like they were amazing. And then after that, when the band broke up, he started getting real busy on an MPC 2000 XL, which he still owns, and rapping and self-producing his own like solo rap projects where he would make the beats and rap, and started going by the name There Alone or The Real One. It's like the same letters, like you could just put the space in it or whatever. Because he was Too Real T when he was in the Nature Kids. His name's Troy. And then he became There Alone, and that's when I met him. And we have a side project called Dumpster Food that we started doing. And the name Mike Murderer came about because I was writing a verse for Dumpster Food. And I was like, I'm an honorary New Smyrna Mike Murderer. And as soon as I wrote it, I was like, there's my next name. And I started going by Mike Murderer for like 4 years or something before I was like, all right, I just got to be myself now.
For sure. So awesome. I have a comedy show there at Madcaps in New Smyrna coming up next month. And what we're doing is like, we're raising funds for Pepper and her family and, everything that's happening.
Yes, absolutely. Prayers to their whole family. Last I saw, they got a good report, though, so hopefully things keep going in that direction.
Most definitely. So, yeah, we got it all pulling together from Flagler to New Smyrna to help, because Pepper's been, like, awesome, like, since day one,
she's good peeps, for sure.
Most definitely. And so I was always like, I'm glad you're not leasing your beats anymore, so I'm glad everything's all exclusive. So, like, why did you switch from leasing to being, like, one of one now?
It was a couple reasons. Number one, like social media is like getting like too aggressive. Like I had a post removed. I posted that I was going to be on this show today, right before the show on Facebook, and they removed it for, I forget what they said it was for. But I mean, maybe you've had a situation, or it wouldn't really apply so much to you, but like other musicians, right, will post something with their own music on it and it'll get like removed because, oh, this is such and such song. So if you lease a beat and 10 people are on it and it sounds the same, you know what I mean? Like obviously the rapping or singing or whatever would be different, but like the beat is the same, like it's gonna set off those alarms like in different social media avenues. And I mean, they understand it's a least beat when they buy it, but just in this day and age and how like all this stuff works with AI and like trying to catch things, like it's just like a headache I don't want to deal with. And number two, if it's exclusive, you charge a higher price. So I mean, it makes sense. Like in the past, like I thrived off leasing beats, and it's true you can make more with a leased beat, even though it's a lower price because you lease the same beat to 10 different artists. You know, you're golden. But I think now in this like technology soaked era that we live in, like people want something authentic, something that is their own, something they can connect with. So that's why it's like limited quantities of things are like popping right now. And it's the same with instrumentals. Like if I have an instrumental that I produce and I give it to you, like that's your instrumental, you know, rock that. That's only going to exist in this space. Um, and occasionally, you know, stuff will happen where a beat will get used in more than one place or whatever. But I mean, by and large, if I'm doing a track, it's going to one artist only, or it's going to be on a beat tape by itself or whatever it is. And that's a little caveat to that is like I do put out beat tapes, and I encourage like rappers, like you could rap on these beats, just know that they're not exclusive. Like, and on my website, I give out like a little 3-pack of beats that you're welcome to use, but they're not exclusive. But I put that out like ahead, like these are not exclusive beats. But anything that I make for an artist or send to artists, like once they use it, that's the only place it's gonna be.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm not a fan of social media either. It's like I get, like I promote like all the comedy events and use hashtags, try to catch the algorithm. It gives me the algorithm in blues. I don't want to deal with that stuff anymore. Like as soon as the fest ends, I'm gonna like totally unplug from social media and like do one show a month after that, and I'm like, that's it's just too much. Like, and that's like all my social media is like so boring. It's like here's a cat video and here's a meme. They want you to
Yeah,
be programmed like that. It's like, ugh. And
it's a necessary evil, unfortunately. Especially like trying to do something, like even what you're doing, like promoting, like anything that you need to promote, like you need social media in some way, shape, or form. What I'm trying to do right now is kind of like learn to utilize it in the way that it's best going to serve my purposes. Like I do these daily beat videos, and I've been doing them for almost 2 years now, of a new beat, at least one beat a day, every day. And I started that to try to like gain momentum, build an audience, and it did build an audience to some degree. I've sold beats by doing that and stuff like that. It has not been a wasted effort, but like now I'm seeing like the types of content that actually do like grab an audience and like retain them and stuff. And it's like, man, I'm putting all this effort into like these beat videos. And I made a post about it the other day. I was like, man, I've been doing this for, 2.5 years or whatever it is. Yeah, it's been 2.5 years. And I could keep doing it. Like it's not a problem. I can make a beat right now, and that's not an issue. It's takes time and energy to produce a video and then put the video out, and then I'm posting it on these multiple platforms, and it's not really an engaging piece of content. Like it is for a rapper, like I want to listen to it, see what beat I'm, or oh, that's cool. But like then I'm thinking about it, and it's just like it's not serving its purpose anymore. So I posted, I think I might scale back on this and get into doing other types of content. And then people were like, oh, well, you got to make a beat every day. And I'm just like, you're not listening to me. Like I didn't say I'll still make beats every day. It's just I'm not going to post every single day. Like, here's the beat I made today. Here's the beat I made today. I'm trying to update my approach and make social media work for me. Instead of just like being out there like on a soapbox, just like on a megaphone, like, hey everybody, look at me, look what I'm doing. Like I want to post less and be heard more, if that makes sense.
most definitely. And like I don't know, I'm thinking about what I'm doing is like I'll try my best, but like but then like I tried to like put all my financial info in there, and like you're like in the meta business suite or whatever, and they're like your accounts are restricted, so give us your financials so you can do sponsored ads. And I'm like, well, I'll just hit the streets and post flyers and where they can put flyers, at least get the word out there that way. And then
It
like say,
works.
yeah, hit the ground running on. Say like, all right, what I'll do is like if you help me put flyers out, I'll take your business cards and put them in the swag bags, and we'll both level each other up. And
There you go.
yep, and like get on the radio to promote it, or like the talk radio they have, like the guy that does that, the radio station that's at the pier. He's
Yes. Yep.
always, yep,
Vern.
yeah, Vern.
Yeah, I got a few songs on there. I had one JM song, another day on A1A, and then another one off my last EP, solo EP that I did, Dope Lemonade 2. I have a track called Beach Village that they played.
Yeah,
So I like to get them some of our beachy tracks.
he's one of the good ones. So like,
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
He brought me in there one time to promote the comedy shop, the Humidor, in the European Village, and
Yep.
then yeah, so we packed that place out. So like, radio definitely helps. So, and then get involved with like some nonprofits and charities, because then they can throw their emails out to their people and pack their seats out too. So
Like the locals mix. Hopefully you're
absolutely,
tapped in with the locals mix.
the locals mix. I'm not
Are
sure.
you?
What's the locals mix? Put me
Oh
on
man,
game.
that's who puts on the open mic every Tuesday right across the street from Punk Rock Pizza at the world's most famous brewery.
Oh, Matt.
Yes, Matt is
Oh,
involved with the locals mix, DJ Jukebox Bully. It's a nonprofit organization that's striving to like promote and build culture in Daytona Beach and surrounding areas. And it's music, it's art, it's culture, and it's a really dope organization. They're doing a lot of cool stuff. I definitely think you should get involved with them. Maybe talk to Matt sometime soon and just ask him about it, because I'm sure there's a place for you in their whole universe of things that they're doing. Like it definitely seems like y'all would be a good fit for each other.
most definitely. And his bandmate Woody and I go way back, and
Nice.
yeah, so holy human, shout to those guys. So yeah, I saw
Yes.
Matt came in to do, saw stand up, and so what I'm gonna try and do my best is like I gave Grady, the owner of Punk Rock, the list of bands that said that, these are the people you should check out, and holy human was on on my folks, Jesus Martinez, Unusual Suspects, like Gnarly Quinn, like Virginity out of Daytona Beach. So I'm trying to get, put in the good word for you guys to see if I can get you all in the door there. So
Appreciate it. Yeah, I don't think it'll be an issue to get in there. Tom from World's Famous loves us, and he's good friends with the owner over there. So I'm sure we could get something worked out over there. They were talking about doing a block party where they're going to shut down the whole block, and he wanted some suspects to play that. So I'm sure we'll have something built up there. The owners and us like that patronize these places want Main Street to be built up. Like it's kind of sad, like that it's so like dead. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even though it's a weeknight when we're out there doing these things, it's like, it's kind of sad. Like, it's like the main artery, and it could be so much more. Just
yeah,
needs some like life breathed back into it, as much of Daytona does.
big time. I mean, if the Land's night market on Friday nights can bring so many people, we can do the same for Daytona's Main Street. So
Right.
yeah.
All right, man. I'm kind of like tapping out on time here, though.
Oh, for sure.
So I
I'll
do
definitely
got to
check.
run.
Oh,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, man, thank you so much for having me on here. It was a pleasure talking to you. I feel like if I didn't have to go, I could talk to you another hour. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So I
for
really
sure.
appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
I appreciate you and totally understand. I'm gonna go check out Triz and You're Going to Miss Me documentary and everything like that. And shout out to Jesus J Williams and also Sal for joining in on the chat. And chat.
Absolutely. Let me just throw out real quick. Tomorrow night, Unusual Suspects are at Tiernanog. It's a mixed genre show. We have a dope punk rock kind of band. It's hard to define their genre, but Anxiety Society, they're super dope. They rock. And our brother Arrogant Ant is going to be playing with us too. And then on Saturday, 7 p.m. at Ormond Beach, live on the Casement's back patio stage, Jesus Martinez will be performing. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, I'll be at the Saturday one with Mandy for sure. So
Sick.
yeah, man, go support you guys. And Yeah, if you like, you can take off if you need to. I know you got like your time's on not on your side at the moment, but yeah, check out them at their future shows. My future shows Threthfest at Ternog Irish Pub, and Punk Rock Pizza coming up. Cutiepie.com for all the details. And yeah, and shout out to Kano's and Spa, Kwan's Kitchen, Blowback Gallery, Punk Rock Pizza, and Ternog Irish Pub, Punk Rock Pizza. Hopefully, I didn't miss anybody. We love you and miss you. See you on the next episode. Be well, take care, and see you on